Good morning. I'm trying to seem like I have energy this morning, but you know how that goes. I made some good choices last night, and involved driving up to Cleveland. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I drove up to Cleveland and I visited with some friends of mine at a social distance. Everybody, I'm being responsible. And had a nice time. Hung out for about 3 or 4 hours, and then drove back home. And I am paying the price this morning. My God, I am tired. I have so much to do today. Not only just on stream, but also just with work. I've got lots and lots of things going on. And the first thing that I want to talk about, honestly, maybe I'll bring this up later, but I'll mention it now too. If you haven't already heard, there's a thing going on, and it's coming up real quick. It's on July 22nd, which is one of the best days of the year. It happens to be my birthday, and we're going to have an event called Alexa Live happening on July 22nd, mostly in the afternoon for those of us on the East Coast, but it is going to be a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff. A lot of new things you may not have seen before, feature announcements, all sorts of cool stuff. Keynotes. I'll be giving a session there on something that's super secret but super cool. So I'm really, really looking forward to Alexa Live. So I'll probably mention this again later once we have more people joining us. But Gold Zulu, good morning. I'm glad you're here. So I need to get right into coding, and hopefully I can keep this up for 2 hours. My God, I'm so tired. I want to be able to get through some of the stuff that I promised on Twitter this morning. So I mentioned on the Twitter, if we go to this page, we're going to talk about refactoring the database. We're going to talk about adding multiple locales to our model and getting the rest of that speech out of our code. So one really affects number three, because I have some questions for all of you, and I'm curious what you think, because as I've been going about this, I'll be the first to admit. Good morning, Karthik. Thank you for the raid, man. That's super cool. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for being here. Karthik and his crew are all here. I just mentioned this, but if you guys didn't know, there's this thing coming up called Alexa Live on July 22nd. Let me drop a quick link for you in the chat, just so you can find the information yourself. It's a free event. Lots and lots of cool things going on there. Karthik is going to be presenting. I'm presenting. A number of other folks that you've seen streaming about Alexa will all be there. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of cool stuff. So back to the tweet. Back to the thing. I have 3 things that I want to do today. I don't know that I'll get all of them done, but I want to really talk about refactoring this database. So let's get into what it is and why I want to refactor. Kevin Evans, Karthik, thank you for being here. W. Giorgio's here. My goodness, we got a good solid crew already this morning. But I want to talk about I want to talk about Airtable. And so I have this speech database, right? Each one of those icons that you just saw was a database. And as we look at these, you can see that I have all of these tables, right? If I go back in here, I have welcome and goodbye and help and all. Like, as I started going through this, I realized, my God, I'm going to have a ton of tables, and this is going to become a bit unruly. I have done this stuff before, where I've created a bunch of tables like this, but I've never gotten it this far, where I've really, like, this dev tip skill is definitely going live, and so I'm really being good about getting all of my content out of my code, moving it all into the database, and for each kind of unique instance, I'm creating a new table that has new records, right? So this is kind of the thing. And then when we talk to the skill, obviously all of the speech data that we see here, all of that funnels out through our conversation. So when I say, oh, well, that's not going to work. Let's get some debugging started.
Hello. What would you like to try?
Did I do it? How did that work? Let's try that again.
Here's something I haven't told you about yet. Identity and access
Oh,
management.
I see. I know what I did.
Or IAM undefined. What would you like to try?
So one of the things that I did yesterday, and for those of you guys who didn't notice, Karthik changed his time on his streaming, so he is getting started a little earlier every day and wraps up just as we're starting here. So this is an issue where I need to come into my endpoint and update it. I'm sure it's pointing at the Lambda, which makes total sense. And we'll come in here and we'll grab the debug link. So I'm running the debugger, but I'm not pointing at it. So we'll fix that right now. And we'll save it. That should do that. I'm curious, for each one of these, it's probably a different endpoint, right? Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to have to deal with. Is that now I have a bunch of locales in here. You'll notice that I have all the English locales now available, and each one of them has their own endpoint. So when I come in to test this, I really want to make sure that I'm focusing on US English still, because that's the thing that I'm trying to do. So let's do this. Are we going to hit my endpoint now? Yeah, look at that. Okay.
Welcome to Alexa Dev Tips. What would you like to know?
What would you like to know? So for those of you that haven't seen this before, I know there's a couple new people here. Akalesh, thank you for being here. This is the data that everything runs with, right? So the entire speech that's coming out of my skill is all coming out of these tables, and this is starting to get unruly. I really don't like this. And so I had a thought yesterday that maybe I want to change my approach to this. Maybe what I want to do instead, and I've already done it, but I'm really interested in your opinions on this, is in my data table, where I would love to have everything anyway, I created a speech table. And it looks like this. So now, Kevin, nice job on the lamp, man. Next, we're going to get you into some hex colors. Before you know it, you're going to be making that thing flip all the time. So what I did is I refactored my database. I didn't delete the other one yet, obviously, but I've refactored this so that I am keeping all of the speech in one table rather than dividing the speech across a number of tables depending on what kind of content it is. I don't know that I love this either. There's some challenges to this, and a lot of the challenges that I'm considering and that bother me are really related to how is the next person going to be able to manipulate and use this data. When they were in separate tables, it was really easy for them to come in and say, oh, okay, I want to write some action queries. So I go to the action query table. I can see the ones that are English. I'm going to write the German ones, right? And I'm multilingual, so I can do stuff like that. This doesn't give me that same kind of feel. I think I could still come in here and filter this, right? I add a filter where speech type contains action query and do it like that. And now they can see this just as the action query table versus whatever. And so then if they wanted to write the German versions of these, they could do that. They could add the German locale. They would still tag them as action query because that's what it would need to be able to be recognized. So I'm curious, do you guys think that this is a better approach? This feels more scalable. I mean, I don't know that there's a limit to the number of tables that you can create in Airtable, but I feel like I'm on my way to 100, and that just seems like too many. But if I just have a data type, speech type here, I don't know, I guess that feels a little more useful to me, a little like I'm keeping it all in one place. There's a number of things here that I feel like I like, but I'm interested to know your opinions. Is there something that you see that like, oh man, that's going to become a nightmare, or that's going to become a challenge, or whatever? I'm always curious to know what your thoughts are on this kind of stuff. So if anybody has an opinion and you want to drop it in the chat, I would love your thoughts. But the options that I'm teetering between are either, let me get rid of my filter, to have one table with all of the data, right? There's a couple, like 135 records here right now. And then that grows with each new actual language, each spoken language that we add. So I would have another 100 for French and another 100 for German, and I don't think that's too bad. I don't know where we'll actually end up when we're all said and done, but it's kind of nice to be able to see all the content in one table too, instead of having to dig in and figure out which is which. Um, anyway, I'm not seeing a lot of opinions. One table, Gold Zulu likes that. That's good. I kind of feel like this would work pretty well too. What I would need to do, and thankfully this is, I think it's going to be pretty easy, is if we get into the code, we can look at my files here. We have this file called get random speech, and that's where all of this stuff comes from. So I have this get random speech, and the only thing that I'm doing is specifying the table that I want to pull it from. So I think all I would need to do, let's just try this, because I think maybe I can make just one minor change to this code and I'm good. So I'm going to comment that one out, and then I'm going to make a copy of it, and we're going to just see if this works. So instead of this now, we're going to go to the base data, and the table name is always going to be speech. But we need to add another condition out here, and is disabled false. And then I need to say speech type is %3d, and then I need to put in, and I think I'm going to try this because it would be nice not to be able to change it. Table to uppercase, comma. So my hope here, I broke it down for me, is now I'm choosing records that aren't disabled. Obviously that's something that we would really want. The speech type, which is this column here, capital S, capital T, will equal the name of the table that I was passing in before, and I've been careful to use those same things, but now they're uppercase, and then they have to be for the right locale. So I wonder if that's enough. If I just do that, and we try, welcome to Alexa Dev Tips, tell me about account linking.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Well, that doesn't exactly surprise me. I've never gotten through writing some code without it totally breaking. Cannot find property length of undefined. And so helper.js is doing something. The least tables, Crazy Bone, I'm kind of the same way. I think that's where I'm at. Plus it lets me consolidate things and put them all in the same place. This would also then potentially give me the ability to say, this person has already heard this speech before, so use something they haven't heard before. We could do little tricks and stuff like that because it would be in the same database. All right, so we need to go look at helper line 107. Let's see what I broke. Line 107 is get random. So clearly I did not make the change that I had hoped I'd made. And the reason for that is the table is called speech, that's right. And the database is base data, that's correct. API key is there. I wonder what I could be doing wrong there. Maybe the %3d is wrong. I think that's the equal sign. Let's see. Just make sure the tables are socially distanced. Yeah. Maybe that's the solution, Oxygen Box. How do we not have you on VIP status yet? How has that happened? Did we get you to 4,000 points yet? Do you have 4,000 points? Where are you at? It really feels like at this point we should have you on the wall. We should have you as a VIP. What's happening? Tell me your status. In the meantime, I'm going to figure out why this doesn't work. And to do that, I'm going to take... You have 7.1. Let's get you on the wall. Or are you already on the wall? I don't even know. Let's talk about this for a second. If you come down here and you choose this little box below the chat where the points are, and you choose add your happy little image, when you do this, you spend those 4,000 points. I put you on the wall. I give you VIP status. You get some bling in the chat. Have you done that yet, Oxygen Box? I feel like you should have. All right, so what we're not figuring out right now is what this is. So we're going to do a console.log, and we're going to say full path, and then we're going to do a, this is going to be URL. Now, this is where I have to go off screen because we start writing API keys and stuff right to the screen, and we don't want that for all of you. You guys don't need to see that. So I'm going to come over to my beautiful face right here, and we're just going to run this once real quick, just to figure out what might have gone wrong. Open.
There was a problem with the requested skills
That's
response.
fine. I just want to see what the error was. I want to see the URL and see. There we go. I've got my path. Let's see what I did wrong. Now we can try that URL and see why we're not getting any results back. Unknown field names error. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Okay. Sometimes when you just take a harder look at it, you figure it out. Okay. So let's get rid of that and come back to this. So the thing that I had forgotten is that this is a string, and so this just needs to be wrapped in quotation marks. So that's all it really was, and then we'll get rid of this this guy right here and try it one more time. So this time, I think, when we open that, never got posted on the wall. Did you spend the points already, Oxygen Box? If you already spent the points, then I owe you a favor, and we need to get you on the wall. Okay, now it's working. Okay. Well, when you feel like it, no, there's no pressure. But when you feel like it, cash in those 4,000 points, and you'll need to let me know which character on that on the wall you want to be, and I'll need a W Giorgio 29,000 points. Oxygen Box, let me know what character you want to be on, and I'm going to need an image that has some kind of headshot or something where I can cut your head out of it, or if you have one cut out already, that's great. And we'll put you on the wall. Okay, so that was as easy as I'd hoped. Let's give the skill a little more run just to see what else we can find. Like if I say help.
Achievement unlocked. You used the help intent. This might be helpful, but it's not. What should we do now?
Okay, so my achievement engine is obviously still working. We have the this might be helpful, but it's not. That's my help message, and that came right out of the database. If we come in here, I have them sorted alphabetically. Lots of goodbyes. But our help message is this might be helpful, but it's not. The last person to go on the wall was... I don't remember. I can probably figure it out if I look at it. But I don't remember off the top of my head. I feel like I should know the answer to that. It also feels like maybe we need to elevate the price of this. Maybe 4,000 is too low. Maybe it should have been 26,000, huh? What do you think, Gold Zulu? It was Urban Blaster. You are correct. Where did Urban Blaster? Yeah, right there. He went on Mega Man. Maybe one day 10,000 for a body. Ooh. Yeah, I could put your whole vertical body on there. That'd be pretty cool. All right, so that's good for now. Let's get rid of that, and let's come back to our speech. So I think this is going to be the way. I think this is where we're at. Maybe, you know what I should do, Gold Zulu, and maybe this is something we could figure out. How do we... No, I don't really want to... Maybe I do want to cover them up. I don't know. Maybe there's a way where I could... Maybe I could put your names on this board that I haven't updated in forever. So that it would just be there all the time. I don't know. But those would be expensive, and maybe you're just there for a month, or I don't know how that'll work. That seems like a lot of maintenance that I would forget to handle well. Okay, so I think we've refactored our database, and that was one of the things that I promised today, was we're going to refactor our database and rethink this. So if we think about it that way, then my speech table is working as expected. And we're in a good place. What I need to do next is make sure that we're getting the rest of our speech out of the code, and then adding multiple locales. So let's talk about that for a minute, because I've done it, but I want to talk about what I did. So I created down here. You can see that we had the ENUS. This has always been here, but I added the Australia, the Canada, Great Britain, UK, and the Indian versions of English here as well. And just adding them here, of course, is never enough. So in your skill.json, you also need to have your locales defined up here. And so for each locale, I have this little chunk here. And you can see that I have sample short description, example phrases, all that stuff. And then inside each file is all of the interaction model. Again, that whole gigantic file. And at the very top, we have the the invocation name. So I'm not yet in a position where I want to publish or anything like that, but I did want to get these working and make sure that I wasn't breaking anything. There's a lot of dependencies in my code on the user's locale, and I didn't want to be in a situation where I wasn't confident that it worked before I go live. So what you can see in here is that now I can choose like English Australia, and I can say open Chewbacca Cup.
I picked a random topic for you. Intent confirmation. Undefined, what would you like to try?
And it looks like it flips automatically. I thought I would have to do this like as a new session. So if I hit help,
this might be helpful, but it's not. What should we do now?
Let's say stop, because the other thing that we should notice is that our achievements don't work, and this is on purpose. So let me explain why it's on purpose. You can see that right now I have these achievements, and they are set up so that they're only defined for ENUS. So if I look at the stop intent, you can see that I haven't earned this one yet. I don't have any records in this. But if I say stop, or let's say repeat, because then we don't leave the skill. If I say repeat,
this might be helpful, but it's not. What should we do now?
You can see that I didn't get the achievement. It didn't give me that notification. Down here at the very bottom, I did add a help for Germany. I just wanted to see if that was going to create any issues or conflicts with what I'm doing, and it's not, thankfully, because of the way that I'm querying my data. But I wanted to make sure that that wasn't going to get in the way. So what I can do with this table now is come in here and we'll add the other English locales to the achievements. So there's English AU, there's English CA, there's English GB, and English IN. And this is actually something that really, really bothered me. I couldn't remember if it was GB or UK. And I know it's GB, and I know that's right, but I just couldn't remember. And so I went and I typed in which locales does Alexa skill support? And this is the list. If I go to our docs, look at this. I completely understand that they're talking about the UK when they talk about English for this one. But the locale itself, which I don't even think is on this page, yeah, it is. Look at this. This is so confusing to me. Why don't we just say GB everywhere? Every other one matches. But the UK one, for whatever reason, we've decided to use the UK for the language name, but for the locale we use GB. This bugs me a lot because it's confusing. CA is Canada, W. Giorgio. Canadian English is slightly different from US English, especially when we talk about things like speech cons. but there's also a French Canadian. No, it's not new. There's an ENCA and there's an FRCA. They've been around a year or more. But this bugs me, and I feel like I need to say something to someone because when I first created my locale, I created an EN-UK. Goldzula, I'm totally with you. I get the GB. That makes complete sense to me. I understand that it's Great Britain. It's just that when we refer to it in our docs, sometimes we use UK, and it would be so easy for someone to confuse it and say EN-UK and get it wrong. I feel like we should just be consistent in that regard. So this is the thing that I'm really angry about as I started adding these locales to my skill. So when we come back here, you can see that I have EN, US, GA, but here we say GB, right? It's not consistent, and I don't understand why. So this is something I'll just have to ask our team about. Maybe I can get it fixed, maybe I can't, but at least it's right here in the dev portal. Updating the docs is easier. Getting into here, because this is more like an application, is harder. Well, let's see what Goldzulu's given me here. Let's take a look. Yeah, no, it is an ENGB. I'm not arguing that it should be UK. I'm arguing if we go to EN, GB, right? There's no EN UK. So I just feel like it should be GB everywhere. That's the argument that I'm making. I don't understand why we have to call it English UK in some of our docs. Not everywhere, just somewhere. And I don't know, that really bugged and confused me because, again, it's not something I do very often, and it's not my home locale, so it's not something that I play with that frequently. But I don't know, that really bothered me. All right, so let's say repeat.
This might be helpful, but it's not. What should we do now?
Okay, so the last thing that I want to do with my achievements is, now that I've added those 5 English locales, is I can just zip down here, not UDE, and then we'll just copy it for this last one. All right, so now all of our achievements should work. So now that I've added these other locales, if I say repeat, now it should work. And if I say repeat,
Achievement unlocked. You used the repeat intent. This might be helpful, but it's not.
Awesome.
What should we do now?
So we've now built a system that all we need to do is load locales into our data, and instantly features are turned on or off. So if I don't want to offer a specific achievement or feature or whatever to a specific locale, I don't know why I would do that, but let's say that I don't, it would be very, very easy for me to be able to just flip it on or off by adding a locale to it. That's awesome. Okay, so let's get back to this. Refactoring our database, adding multiple locales. I feel like the locales are working, although there's lots more to be seen there. So the last thing that I really want to do, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this today, is get the rest of our speech out of our content. And so these are my I really want to look at this speech table. This is where we're going to spend our time. Yeah, I agree with you, Oxygen Box. People in the GBUK would argue that theirs is the only English. I think they're wrong, but that's speaking English in the United States, which is such a very different language from English in the UK. I'm still hung up on the word jumper, so don't even get me started on the differences. It's not that they're wrong, it's just that they're wrong. Okay, so let's get back into it. We are moving our way through these handlers, and I think we got through the change voice intent. Let's make sure that this looks like I expect it to. I had an interesting note here, and I didn't put a to-do on it. I don't know why. Change the user's poly voice to a random voice. Let them know they can change it back to Alexa. They will need to say something we haven't decided yet. So this was a piece of functionality that I considered as we were building this. And just to give a little background on this, you can change the voice of the skill to any of the Polly voices in addition to Alexa's voice. And when you do that, if you say one of the names, then I just change it for you. And I'm like, all right, cool, now we're using this name. And if you say something that isn't one of the names, so like change the voice to Carl or something like that, which isn't a name, then what I say is, hey, that's not a voice. But you can say a voice if you want to. What do I say in the not voice table? Let's look at that. So if we look at not voice right here, voice name is not the name of an Amazon Polly voice. It seems like a reasonable response, but they just wanted to change the voice. And so what if they just say to me, change the voice? I think I'm going to say undefined. Oh, in fact, let's see what happens if I say change the voice.
Undefined is not the same of an Amazon Polly voice. What would you like to do next?
Is that also a typo? Is not the same? It is? That is a typo. Look how easy it is to fix our code. Voice name is not the name of an Amazon Polly voice. Well, that doesn't really work if you just wanted to change the voice. So the note that I left myself is, why don't we just choose a random Polly voice instead, and let them know that, like, oh, by the way, if you want to change it back to Alexa or whatever, you can just say the name of the voice you want it to be. I don't know that I want to do that yet. One of the challenges, the tricks, I guess we could maybe this is something I could do. Let's do it. Why not? This seems like a fun adventure. So we'll come in here and we'll choose. In order to choose a random voice, I have to have a list of random voices. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to come into this table here. Where am I? Let's go to the very bottom of this file. These are all my names, right? These are all the names that are currently available, and you can see that Alexa's here at the bottom as well. So those are all the names that I have available to me in Polly and obviously Alexa. So what if I came over here to my tables and I create a new table, create an empty table. Is that what I want to do? Yeah, that's what I want to do. And we're going to call it voice. And this will allow me to add additional voices to the system very easily. So we'll choose voice. The name, I think the name should be the actual names. That seems reasonable. That way I will be able to see things when I talk about what the user's voice is. Because right now in user, I have a record called polyvoice. And this is just a string, right? So I'm just storing the string of the voice, but it would be nice to have a relational thing. It would be very cool to be able to aggregate, say, how many people are using each voice. It would also be useful metadata for me to store your locale. Let's do that. Customize, no, do insert. Let's do a locale. And we're going to link to another record, and that record is going to be locale. Allow linking to multiple records. I don't think so. I think you can only have one locale. You can change it, but I think you can only have one locale. Okay, so I'm going to save that. We won't use it yet, but at least then I'll be like, why do I have this locale table? But then I can see where my users are coming from much easier and do some analytics on this table. But polyvoice seems like a thing. And when we think about our voice table, we have the name. What other stuff do we have in our code? We have the name. That's it. Okay. So we need to get these names into the table. Let's just do Ivy, Brian, Alexa, Alexa, Matthew. I'm doing these from memory, by the way. Russell, Nicole. I think there's a Sally. Well, I didn't spell it right, but I think there's a Sally. S-A-L-L-I. I think there's a Ravina. See how many of these we can get. Ravina. There's a Emma. There's What else can I get off the top of my head of Aditya? Thank you. That one probably would not have come to mind. What else do we have in this table? I don't want to look. I'm trying to do this from memory. We have a Matthew. I think there's probably like a couple more boys' names. Matthew, Brian, Russell. Okay, I give up. Matthew, Justin, and Joey. There we go. Justin, Joey. Ivy, Kendra. I did Ivy already. Kendra. Kimberly, Amy. Kimberly and Amy. Amy, I think that's it. Kimberly and Amy. And then we're going to do it like this, where we sort them by name, always. Cool. Yeah, this should be a job interview question. Prancer and Vix and Oxygen Box. That's funny. That's 15. Is that right? I feel like there's probably more. Oh, you know what? I think I only have the English-speaking voices. Then we want to be able to generate this JSON so that as we add voices or whatever, we can just copy and paste it in. Good morning, Jeff Nunn. Jeff Nunn and I had some fun yesterday. We got to talk with a bunch of startups about voice stuff. I shared a talk that I've given a few times called 10 Things Every Voice App Should Do. I don't know if you guys have you guys ever seen that? Maybe one day I'll just give that talk. It's about excuse me, I'm so tired. It's about an hour when I don't rush through it. But that might be something interesting to do on here one day. Is like I have a bunch of presentations. Maybe we just give a presentation once in a while. All right, so these are the things that I need. What I need is a Alexa slot JSON.
That's nice of you to say.
You're very welcome. What? Who's talking to me? You're over there. 1 second. So for a while, I was in the habit of working from here all the time, and so I would. This is a standing desk, right? So I am standing up, and I do have a stool that I lean back on sometimes, which is kind of a standing stool. But it's not super comfortable, especially when you're standing here like 8-10 hours a day. So I have a really nice Aeron chair, like a desk set up over there, and I haven't used it for most of the quarantine. I've been doing a lot of standing work, but I started sitting down again the other day, and it was so nice. But I have an Alexa device over there that I use, and it's always unmuted because I never remember to unmute it. So this long text, this is going to be a formula. We'll just save it for now. I don't think I have to have a formula. Let's just do record ID for now, and then I'll change it once we get there. So that's my record ID. And then this needs to go away. Delete. I think that's all I need for now. Then we want to go to where we're generating one of these things, like this one, Alexa slot values. We're going to take this formula, copy it, bring it over to our voice table, and change the formula out to be that. Now, I don't know if this is just going to work, because we have synonyms. This is never going to happen. We're not going to have synonyms for... Although I guess we could have synonyms for names, but probably not. So the synonyms is always going to be empty, so I think I can take all of this down to that, like so. There's a problem saving your formula. What a surprise. What if I just get rid of those two quotes? Ooh, look at this. Look at this. All right, that's mostly good. The other thing that I've been doing is instead of record ID, I actually want this to be name, and I want it to be all caps. I don't know how to do that though. So let's go to Airtable formula field reference. And I'm guessing text operators, there's probably like a, no, that's not what I want. Can I do an uppercase, two upper? Oh my gosh, that's so easy. Okay, so this here, instead of name, it's going to be upper. Like so. Save. Boom. Now we've got some nice clean JSON that we can use to copy and paste into our document every time we need to change it. And this has all of our values, so it's as easy as just taking this copy, coming over here, getting rid of our values, and doing this. So just like that. And they all show up, and they're there, and they're nice. And I got to get rid of the... Oh, it gets rid of the trailing comma for me now because I have prettier. Wow, this is lovely. Okay, so that allows me to very easily update my JSON with voices. But that also gives me now, so we can close this. That also gives me the ability to change voices, and we are doing this here. Where update user poly voice is something we need to look at, because now I want to have a reference to that table. And so to do this, we're going to update the user record. We're going to leave it called poly voice. And we're going to do this. I wonder, could it just work? Do you think it could just work? Let's see. Let's see how much we break. If I go to user and we choose poly voice here, and we're going to choose, instead of being single line text, we're going to say we're going to link it to another record, and it's going to be the voice table. And allow linking to multiple records. No, you can only have one voice at a time. It is going to break. I know why it's going to break, because it's going to expect an array. So this just needs to become this. Boy, this would be bananas bonkers if this just works. Let's see. Let's just try it. So I'm in the skill. Let's go back to English US just to make sure I'm not venturing out too far. And we're going to say help first, just to make sure everything's working. Help.
This might be helpful.
Cool.
But it's not.
Now I'm going to say
what would you like to do
change
next?
voice to Brian, my favorite voice. It's going to break, right? It's got to break. Something's happening.
The requested skill did not provide a valid response.
Value Brian is not a valid record ID. Oh, man. I mean, that's okay. Like, that's not the end of the world. What that means is that instead of doing this way with the voice table, where I was capitalizing and using that as my ID, we're going to do it the other way. We're going to get rid of this, and we're going to say record ID. And so now it'll insert the record ID. Now what this requires is for me to update my JSON. So we just take this, and we come over here, and we go to our enus file, which I will have to make sure I update for all of them. And we'll take this, and we'll just drop it in like that. Now we have the record IDs in there. So that's great. And then we're just going to take all of this and copy it, and we're going to come over to the dev portal and change this out. So we're going to go to build. And oh, W. Giorgio, who wants to beta test Powers, a fighting game for Alexa? I would like to do that. I always say that, and then everybody sends me beta invites, and then I don't do it, and I feel terrible. But I would like to do that. I want to be part of the cool kids. JSON editor. Boop boop. let's save it. And let's build it. And hopefully I didn't break anything. So far, so good. Oh, excellent. Excellent, excellent. Hey, I actually, W. Giorgio, let me see if I can do that. Quick whisper. We'll do at jeffblankenburg.com. I know I just showed you all my email address. That's fine. One pro tip I'll give you guys on beta testing though is, how do I get back to? I gotta close that. There we go. One tip I'll give you on beta testing is that if you put everybody's email address into the beta testing tool and you rely on the beta testing tool to send your emails for you, you are going to be so disappointed because there are lots and lots of people that have said, I don't want any promotional emails from Amazon. And for whatever reason, our legal team has decided that those qualify as promotional emails. And so even if you put the person's email address in there and you say send the beta invite, they will not receive it because that filter catches all of them. So my recommendation is in the beta testing tool, you can go in and you can just send the people an email out of your own inbox. It'll give you all the content and the links and all the stuff that they need. But please make sure that you are just send a direct email to everybody. You can BCC them or whatever. But if you send a direct email, because you had to collect everybody's email address to add them to the beta anyway, add them to the beta because they need access. But then don't worry about the emailing system. Just send a message to all of your potential beta users. And you'll be able to keep a dialogue that way too, where doing it through the beta tool is kind of clunky. So that's a recommendation for all of you. And you've got my email address now, so add me to your beta. I'd love to check it out. Yeah, you could just set up a simple form online and do all that. We built, everything looks good. So now we're going to come back and we're going to try this one more time where we're going to go to test. We're going to say change the voice, and now we're passing in, I think this will work. I think if we say open the skill.
Hello, and welcome to Alexa Dev
Change
Tips.
the voice.
This skill can give you information.
Oh, come on, work. Oh, it won't, that's not going to work at all because, oh yeah, it should still be pointing here, shouldn't it?
The requested skill did not provide a valid response.
Invalid record ID. Oh, that's because I need to change this piece too, which is the update user polyvoice. Because I'm passing in the name of the polyvoice, and I'm probably going to need to look that up now, right? So change update user polyvoice. I'm passing in value.name. I want to pass in value.id. But that'd be lovely if that just worked. Let's try one more time. Open the skill.
Hello, and welcome to Alexa.
Change the voice to Brian.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Still broken. What do we got now? Is an value that invalid. Maybe I need to pass the whole thing. Yeah, that's probably it. Let's do this. And then when we get it on the other side, it will be both the ID and the name, and I think I need both. So over here, if polyvoice equals Alexa, so I want this to be polyvoice.name. If it equals Alexa, which it would, then polyvoice equals nothing. Then we make a connection to the database. I don't think I need to do this anymore. No, because I don't want it to say Alexa. That's the gotcha. That's the whole catch to this. So if polyvoice name equals Alexa, polyvoice equals nothing. We'll see how this works. Otherwise, it's going to equal polyvoice. I got to put an else here. I think the else is the case. Else polyvoice equals polyvoice.id as an array, like so. So now I can get rid of this reference here. Polyvoice. So if polyvoice equals Alexa, we're going to put nothing in the database. Otherwise, we're going to set up an array that has one value that is the ID that we want. And then we're going to pass in whatever that thing is. This might just work, everybody. Let's see. Open Chewbacca Cup. And we get our...
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What are you talking about? Value that is an invalid name. Do I just need to reset? Do I need to start over here? Yeah, Gold Zulu, I'm with you, man. This is so much better. So much better local debugging. I wish I'd found this years ago.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Whew. Voice name. Oh, I see. The voice that I'm pulling out is not proper. So if I look at my data, what did I do? Did I break something? No. No, we changed the voice. That's good. So the voice is now Brian. Oh, look how nice that looks too. But when we pull it out, it's getting the ID. So we need to look at our get user record, maybe? Nope, we need to look at maybe our... Nope. How about this one? We come way down here. Get user record, but I think it needs to be I think it's the change voice function that I really need, which is in helper. Helper, change voice, user.polyvoice.name. No, what is it going to bring back there? If I look at my request envelope, I have the user record here. Polyvoice, all I'm getting back is that. I don't care about that. Okay, well let's fix that. We'll add another column to our user table, which I hate to do, called voice. We'll just change it to voice. And this is going to be a lookup. And we're going to look up polyvoice. We're going to look up name. And then we'll just slide this guy way out here to the end, because I don't really need to look at that much anymore. This is the thing that I care about. So now this just becomes voice. It's a lookup field, so this is the only place I think I need to change it. If voice doesn't equal undefined, then update the user's speech with voice. Let's try one more time.
Welcome.
Oh, yeah.
What should we do now?
Brian, thank you for being here. Okay, so change voice to Emma.
Achievement unlocked. You changed the voice to Emma. Hello, my name is Emma. I will use this voice until you change it again. What should we do now?
And you can see that Emma's here, but this isn't editable. It's a lookup based on this one. That's really nice. Okay, so we have our voice changing magic. We have all of this stuff in our database now. So I have a voice table. I can see how many people are using each. Let's add another column here. These are always fun to do. User count. This is going to be a count of the number of records in user. Yep, just like that. And so now I can see how many people are using each voice as they're using the skill. I can just come in and see all this. This is pretty cool. Okay, so I have my voice stuff fixed. I think now we can get back to the thing that we really wanted to do, which was in the change voice intent, we wanted to be able to choose a random voice. And let them know that, like, hey, by the way, we've changed this voice for you because you said change the voice. Is that how I want to do? I think it is how I want to do this. So, Mr. Smoofy, they're built in, but they're not built in. The way the voices work is if you go to Amazon Polly. Amazon Polly is a service available on AWS, and the idea behind it, if we get started with Amazon Polly, let me log in here quickly, is it's meant for you to have synthetic voices that you can use in any kind of application. It doesn't have to just be Alexa. And so, like this Joanna voice here, I can say listen to speech.
Hi, my name is Joanna. I will read any text you type here.
Jeff is very handsome, right? And so we can say something like that.
Hi, my name is Joanna. I will read any text you type here. Jeff is very handsome.
Right, and so I can get a feel for that. I can download the MP3 if I just want to use it for a demo or something. This is a text-to-voice type service, but one of the nice things that we built into Alexa is the ability to use this in SSML. And so if we update my Poly voice, that's not really where I want it. I want this. If I do something like this in my code, which is, where's change of voice? This. I basically just say voice name equals, and then the name of a voice. This allows me to change the voice inside the skill to any of the names that we see here in this list. So if we look at English US, these are all the names of English US names. If I come to English Welsh, this is one I don't have. Let's take that and add it to our database because now we can do that. So we'll just add him right here. Boom. New record in our table. So let's be diligent about this. Let's see what other voices we're missing from English languages. Where did Polly go? So that's English Welsh. I have English Australian. I already have Nicole and Russell. English British. Amy Emma Bryan. I'm not actually sure exactly because there isn't a Welsh locale Gold Zulu. I don't think so. I think that I can just say use this voice. Amy Emma Bryan, I have all of them. What about Indian? Ravina and Aditi, we have them. I have all of those. Is that all the English ones? Just make sure I'm not missing anything. And I think you can use the other voices too. So if I come into Danish, for example, Naja, let's take that and add that as a voice. And I think I can still get that voice to speak English. I think. So let's try that right now. Now that it's a record in our database, we can say change voice to Naja.
Naja is not the name of an Amazon Polly voice. What should we do now?
Oh, because I don't have it as part of my slot. Yeah, that's the catch. That's the thing that'll get you every time. So we'll take this. Again, it's not hard when you do it efficiently. But we'll just find our ENUS, and we'll come down here to the bottom, and we'll find our values. We'll just start here, voice values. Stop right-clicking. Take that, and come all the way down. to this. Looks like Tradelast has his own. That's interesting. Why are they in pairs? Oh, because you renamed them. You gave them different names. I forgot that you renamed all the names. That's super cool though. So I have all of those things there, and I'm just going to take this and bring it over to my model. This is the fast, cheap way to update my model while I'm doing local debugging. Is just to come to the Build tab. Nigel is a really good name for Brian. I agree with you, Jeff Nunn. So let's come down here to my JSON editor. Dump that in there. Now I have Naja as a voice. I'm really interested to see if I can use them this way. I think that I can, but let's see. Save, build. We'll wait a little bit. Justin became Jeff. That's pretty awesome. I'm glad I'm represented in your skill. Or Jeff Nunn. Maybe it's Jeff Nunn. Maybe you meant Jeff Nunn. Or Jeff Bezos. Who knows? Or one of the many other Jeffs around the world. You see me as a kid's voice? I could see that. That sounds right. I am mostly a child anyway. I just have this fat adult body, but I'm still about a 6-year-old. Okay, full build successful. That's really good news. So now if we come over here to this and we say change voice to Naja.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What didn't it like? It didn't give me anything bad. What did my session end request say? Invalid SSM output push speech for value invalid name for element voice. Okay. So how do you use those then? I guess you don't? Maybe Tradelast has a good answer for this. Can I only use the English ones? It doesn't like that as a name for the element voice. And I feel like I chose a Dutch name, right? Like I chose this Naja, which is a Danish, not Dutch, sorry, Danish name. So what if I say listen to speech?
Mit navn er Joanna. I vil redan ny tekst YouTube her. Jeff i Sverige ensomme.
So it seems like I probably can't use those. If we wrap it in the language too. I mean, I guess I could try that. There's a tag to use the other voices with an English accent. Let's go look at using poly voices with Alexa. We'll learn something today. We're getting deep into. I don't want a blog post. I want docs. The following locales are supported for Alexa. Great, and I see ENGB right here. That's good to see. Use the voice tag, and I could use this language tag. So I could use the user's locale. That's easy to slide in there. So I think that's probably all I need. I'll have to close the lang tag too, but if we go to we want to go to helper, and we just wrap right here, and this will be a locale, and then we'll need to close the lang tag here. Let's just hard code it for now, and then I'll come back and get that. Can't do it this way. Let's clean this up. This is old bad practices of mine. Okay, and then this comes down here. Still need this and this. We'll put this right here. Yeah, I might have to add it to the table, which is totally fine. I'm very comfortable doing that if that's what I need to do. I do have handler input here though. I should just get locale. I think that would be better. So we'll take this and we'll say $. Then we'll take all of this, get rid of that. Oh, look, it fits on one line now. It's beautiful. Okay, cool. So that cleans up really nicely. And then the other thing that I really want is we could say const locale equals helper. No, I don't even need that. I just need get locale because I'm in helper already. Handler input. And we should be able to take locale. Although I don't know that I necessarily want... Oh, that's going to be tricky. Do I... Well, let's see if enus works first. That'll make some... I want to make sure that I'm understanding exactly how this works. So if I come back in here, and I just try this again...
Sorry, what device?
Okay.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Yeah, I think that's going to continue to be an issue because I have, as my user, Naja. So if I have in my table for voices, we could have another thing that is a useful column. Let's do that here. Customize field type, insert left. We'll call this locale. This is going to get messy though, I think. Link to another record. Locale. No. And then for most of these, how do I want to do this? I need to use the locale that's appropriate for the language. So I need to basically hard code each one of these with their individual. So like this one is EN, IN. That one doesn't have anything. This one needs whatever Amy is. I think let's do the ones I know. This is ENGB. This is ENAU. This is the other ENIN. Nicole is ENAU. What is Sally? Sally, Joanna, Ivy, Kendra. Ivy, ENUS. Kendra, ENUS. No. I keep wanting to do that, and that's not where it is. Joanna and Sally. Where's Joanna? Oh, we totally forgot to add Joanna. Joanna. She's here. Go. Sally is down here. ENUS. And this is going to make me potentially make a call to the database, which I don't really want to do. But Kimberly, Matthew, Justin, Joey. Kimberly, ENUS, Matthew, ENUS, Justin, ENUS, and Joey, ENUS. Okay, so Emma, what are you? I think are you GB? He's English Welsh. I don't even know how to do that yet. Those are the things I have to figure out here. British is Amy, Emma, and Brian. Emma is ENGB. Amy, ENGB. Okay, Alexa still gets nothing. I don't know how to handle this one, and I don't know how to handle this one, because I don't even have those locales. But I feel like in user, I could just have another... Like I have the voice. I could do a voice locale, which is a link to... a lookup from Polyvoice that is locale. Save. And this would now let us do, like if I change my voice to Brian, right, then those two values auto-populate to Brian and ENGB, which is pretty cool. And then in my code, I need to populate this with that, but now I do know that. I do know that. It's now voice locale instead of this. Voice locale. This is stealing the joy of having that all on one line and fitting on my screen, but I think that's okay. Voice locale, and I do that every time. Here's the trick. If their voice is Alexa, I don't want to do any of this. So if their voice is undefined, then that'll be undefined. Which, oh, maybe that still works. Okay, so open. Give me Brian's voice. Give it to me.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What was the issue? Invalid value for language, and that's because my response builder put this in there. Why did it put that in there? Is it because, I think I know why, but I don't like it. This is a link to Polyvoice to locale. Which is in itself another record. Formatting, can I just have it be a string instead of... I don't think I can do a lookup in a lookup, so we'll have to do like... Move this out here to the end. So we have Polyvoice and we'll have Polyvoice locale. And then... Got to do a double on this. Save. Yeah, I'm getting the record ID. That's what it gives me if I'm pointing at a record, but I think we can just do it like this. So now I'm going to create a new field called voice locale, and this is going to be a lookup on what? Cancel. Polyvoice locale. I want to do a lookup on that. Oh, it's a record, but they won't let me do a double deep record? Okay, what if I just say, look up. I can't even grab that? I can't even get in there? What if I just say equals poly voice locale? That might do it. Okay, that might do it. We'll see. This needs to be voice locale now. Voice locale. And now if we try this.
Welcome to Alexa Dev Tips.
There's Brian's voice.
What would you like to know?
So now I should be able to say change voice to Alexa. Should work.
Hello, my
Nice.
name is Alexa.
Change
I will use this voice until you change it again.
voice to
What would you like to know?
DT.
Aditi is not the name of an Amazon Polly voice. What would you like to know?
Isn't it? Isn't it the name of a poly voice though? Aditya. I'm sorry. Change voice to Aditya.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What don't you like now? What did I do wrong now? Did I spell the name wrong? What am I doing? 8. What did I put? ADITYA. There was a problem with the requested skills response. And the value at digit is invalid for the element voice. What are you talking about? If I look at this, my response builder, voice name Aditya, language is ENIN. I mean, this feels like. Can you give me the speak part, please? There we go. Take all of that, just copy it. We're just going to go over here to our testing tool. We'll paste it in here. Input was incompatible. What if I say English IN? What are you talking about? ADITYA. Indian. Oh, because it is a DD. What language am I thinking of then that has the... Did I just make that up? Seriously, did I make a... What in the world? How did that even get into my table? Okay. I mean, that's an easy fix, but I don't know how I did that. And then that should just fix it, right? So I should be able to say repeat.
Sorry, there is nothing to repeat.
Welcome. What should we do now?
Cool. All right.
This might be helpful, but it's not. What would you like to try?
Now can I say change voice to Naja? No.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
And that's because Naja didn't have a locale. What I want to try is one of these other non-English ones, right? Naja was Danish? Yeah. So what's not clear to me here, and I guess we can go back to figuring out what is the... If we come back to that other page that we had open earlier, where did it go? There was that whole list of locales that somebody gave me. There we go. DEDE is not Danish. That's German for sure. Danish, I guessed right. DADK. Okay. So let's come in here and just add that to Naja. Now we gotta do this the right way. Country, Denmark, language is, come on, Danish. And then the locale is DADK Danish. Maybe. There we go. Denmark. Okay. Now I can go to my user, no, to my voice table, and I can add DA-DK to this, and then I can set my user to be Naja, which has the DA-DK, and then I say this, and it's not going to work, right? Open Chewbacca Cup.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Yeah, it's probably still going to puke on this. Naja is not a valid name for element voice. Did you guys know that, by the way? This is something that I only discovered. It wasn't something that someone showed me or that I saw in documentation. But when your skill fails, you have your response builder, right? This is the thing that I sent out. And then if your skill fails for some reason, you get a new request envelope that is a, let's see if I can find it down here at the bottom. It is a of type session ended request. I have to see if I can find that someplace. Session ended request somewhere. It should be down here at the bottom, I think. Viewport, presentation type, pixel height. Yeah, type session ended request. And then the session ended request is its response, like its message. It actually tells you, like, why did your skill break? So if you guys haven't seen that before, it does arrive in the session ended request that you receive. It's a much more verbose version of the error and what's going on. NLBE for Belgium. That's a weird one. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about it for now. I think the right thing for me to do is just to live in the world that I'm in. Use the voice tag. Use the lang tag. Is there a list? You can use any supported Amazon Poly voices in your Alexa responses. Which voices are supported? Do you tell me? How can you tell me to use the supported list, but you don't tell me what the list is? The following locales are supported for Alexa. Okay, so I can only use those voices, which is why I could use a DT, but I couldn't use Naja. So we come into my table. At least we know we can do this, right? This is we can add this easily later. So we're going to get rid of this guy. We're going to get rid of Naja. And I'm also going to get rid of the reference to this language, because I don't want to clutter up my database with things that are not supported. So we'll just get rid of that for now, but when we can add it, we will do it. Country, Denmark. Okay. All right, so we can at least use the voices that I have in my list now. And we're good to go. Now there are more, but I don't have those locales supported yet. So let's at least get into that. If we choose nope, English, French. We have Celine. We can add these voices. So we'll add, if we go to voice, this becomes Celine. I do wonder if I'm going to need synonyms now. I probably am. This is FR. And that's okay. We'll see if that just works, but I fear that I'm going to need synonyms to get a match on that. The other two were Leah, and Matthew. And that's going to be tricky too, right? Because don't I already have a Matthew here? Whew. How am I going to disambiguate that? Mathieu, FR. And then I have Leah, FR. How do I know which one you mean? Those are going to sound so similar. Matthew. Not going to worry about it for now. Those are the French ones, French Canadian. I just have Chantal. Okay. So we'll add that in there. But what should work, FRCA this time, what should work is that I should be able to say, like, change the voice to Chantal, and it should still work without changing any code. So that's French Canadian, German. Marlene, Vicky, and Hans. We'll just get them all in there for now. Marlene, Vicky, Hans. And these become DE, DE. Let's go. DE. Vicky is DE. And Hans is DE. Was it VI with a Y? No, it was with an I. I thought so, but I wasn't willing to commit to it. Okay. German, Hindi, we have Aditi, that's good. Italian, Bianca, Carla, Giorgio. Bianca, Carla, Giorgio. Did I do that right? G-I-O? Yeah. Giorgio, and those are going to be ITs. And IT. And then, what else do we have here? Italian, Japanese, Mizuki and Takumi. Okay. JP. Takumi. Nope. Takumi. Like that. And then this is a JP. Maybe if you ever get there. Okay. So those are done. And then we need to Korean, Norwegian, Portuguese. Portuguese, Brazilian. I wonder if those are both supported? Probably not. Victoria, Camilla, Ricardo. PT. My name purged whatever was in my head. Camilla, Ricardo. Okay. Camilla. PT. Maybe. Ever. And Ricardo. No. Ricardo. PT. Okay, I don't know how they expect me to disambiguate between those two names, but those two Matthew names. Portuguese, Romanian, Russian, Spanish. Spanish Mexican is Mia. Spanish US. Oh, there's several. Wow. Okay, Spanish. Mexico was Mia. So let's do that one first. Look at all these other voices I didn't even have in here. And this is ES. MX. No, that was ES. And then, well, let's see if one of these works. Let's have it change to Ricardo and see what we get. Change voice. No, let's open the skill first. Make sure it's working.
Hello, and welcome to Alexa Dev Tips.
Change voice.
This skill can give you information and answers about Alexa. Ricardo is not the name of an Amazon Polly voice.
Because I didn't add it
What
to the
would you
model.
like to know?
I don't want to do that yet. Watch is blowing up. Everything's happening, everybody. Let's just get the last few voices in here. Penelope, Lupe, Miguel. Copy that. That goes here. Lupe, Miguel. And these are ESMX. Oh my god, stop buzzing. ESMX. ESMX. Okay. And then, so we've done the Spanish, US, and Mexican, Swedish, Turkish, Welsh. Okay, I think we've got them all. So we talked earlier about the number of voices, but I think it's actually 35. I'm going to have to take this off if you keep buzzing my wrist. Wow, okay, watch is coming off. Guys, it's buzzing too much. Okay, so this now means I have all of these voices. I need to take my slot JSON. Again, this is where the magic comes in. Copy that. Actually, let's just go right to the model and fix it. I'm getting a bunch of updates from stuff. No, it's not a blood pressure thing at all. Nothing like that. Just... My blood pressure is actually about as normal as you've ever seen. It's 115/80 most of the time. Get rid of that. And why not have a 10,000 line model, right? I use all the English voices in my newly certified skill, like, don't like, says the shameless plugger. This is the place for plugging, man. You'll definitely get some people to try out your stuff here. While we're waiting for that to build, I'll come over here and do it in this as well. So ENUS, take our voices out again and replace them. There we go. This is building. I'm going to have some water. Full build successful. Moment of truth. Change the voice to Ricardo.
I will use Ricardo's voice. What would you like to know?
Awesome. Now, I don't expect him to speak English very well. He's not designed to speak English very well. But if someone wants to hear what Ricardo's voice sounds like, even with their English content, because that's the locale that they're currently in, they could do that. Now, this makes me want to allow people, and man, this would be a nightmare to change in my code, to allow them to say, change, like, even though their locale isn't Spanish, should I allow a user to change their locale so that it overrides what their device actually does? That actually feels like something that developers would want to do, to be able to hear the Spanish content even though their device is English US. Man, that could be fancy. We could totally do that. I could set it so that their user's locale is populated by their location in the locale in their JSON. But if they want to change it, they can change it. I'll have to think about... I'm not going to do that today. All I want to do now... all this work we just did, like 45 minutes, an hour worth of work, this was all so that I could come in to change voice intent, and when they don't specify a voice, I just pick a random voice. We haven't written any of that logic yet. So the next step here is then to say const voice equals await airtable get random voice. And what am I passing them? Anything? Oh no, you didn't derail anything. This all needed to happen in order for the code I'm about to write. So you're totally fine. Get random voice. What is get random voice going to do? I don't have that function written. We've got random speech. Let's use this as a template. We'll just save as, and we'll do get random voice.js. Okay, and then in here, we're going to do a get random voice. Looks like that. And what are we going to do? We're calling into the data table, but we want, instead of speech, we want voice. It just needs to return a random polyvoice record, the name and the locale. I totally agree. We want to make sure that they're not disabled. I didn't add a disabled column to that table. I should have done that. That is very irresponsible of me. What if I want to be able to not make a voice available, or I added one accidentally? Should always be an is disabled column. It's just safer. Is disabled. And this is just going to be a checkbox. Okay. Now if I want to disable a voice, I totally can. I don't know what happens if someone has selected that voice and I disable it. That's a problem for another day. But this way at least people can't choose that voice anymore if I make it disabled. Okay, so back here we are calling the voice table. We want is disabled false, and I don't care about any of this other filtering. All we want is disabled is false. We're going to get that whole list, and then we're going to get a random item out of that list. Yeah, Mr. Smoofy, I agree. That is the right practice. The problem that I have is, how do I know? And we'll have to think about that. I feel like the update user polyvoice, I need to put it to do in here. It says, because I'm just updating it. Yeah, that's going to be tricky. We're going to have some other conditions here. So I'm just going to add it to do. This is an edge case, but we want to have it in here. What if the user selected a voice that is disabled? And then we also probably should do that here for the, I don't want to do it there, but let's look at the place I really need to look is here. This is where I go and get all their data, get user record. No, I can't do it there either. But I can't just do it on update either, because it's really when, like, if I go in and just mark something as disabled and they still have the voice, will it still work? It probably will still work. But it's probably going to be a manual process. I think for now, I'll leave that note in there, but I think it's probably going to be a manual process where, like, if I decide that Bianca's got to go, then if I were to absolutely delete this record, that would fix it easily. But if I just disable it, wait, maybe we can do this just in Airtable. User voice only include conditions where is disabled is false. I wonder if that would work. And then we'll do the same thing here. For this. This is really where I should have done it. So, link to... No, that's not... Oh, I did it right the first time. Okay, this one, I want this to be only when is disabled. I just want to build this rule so that it does it automatically. So now, we have Ricardo PTBR. So if I come back into voice... and I tell it Ricardo is disabled, and then I come back to user. Oh my gosh! Okay, we just solved it. This is great, Mr. Smoofy. We just solved it with some simple logic in our database so that it happens automatically. Oh, that's so great. Guys, this is why I like Airtable. Imagine what I would have to done in most other situations. I'd have to have some script that runs and it goes and updates a bunch of files, and oh my god, this is glorious. Okay, thank you for the drink, Flyboy1565. Appreciate it. Oh my gosh, we just got that working, so let's go get rid of this. Don't care anymore. Okay, that's fixed. Now we can get back to the task at hand, which we're running out of time to actually do, which is to get a random voice. So I have my get random voice file here somewhere. And we're getting a random item from the voice table where it's not disabled. That's it. That's the whole function. That's the whole thing that this does. And it's not going to be voice response, though. It's going to be all the fields. So when I return this, it's going to be all the fields, which will be the record ID, the locale, all the stuff that go with that voice. And if we look at that, I'm going to get all this stuff, right? I'm going to get is disabled, locale. I'll get this other stuff, which I don't really care about, but I can exclude those. That's another project that I need to add a note for myself about. If we come into this, I need to have a update all query. This is another like big one to do. Update all Airtable queries to include only the fields that are necessary. Because that way, if I add other columns or stuff like that, and I don't need to pull them in my query, it won't get them. This is one thing that I actually don't like about Airtable, is I wish that there was a way for me to say, don't include these couple of columns, but instead what I have to do is say, include column A, column B, and column D, but that then infers that, like, oh, well, don't give him column C. The problem with that is then if I add a new column that I do need, I have to go back and update all my queries, where if I could flip it the other way and say only, like, exclude these three fields, then if I add a new field that I need, it's automatically by default coming through. It just creates a little extra work. It's not the end of the world, but it is one of the things that I don't like about querying against Airtable. So this all seems okay. Then I need to get change voice intent. This is going to get me the voice record. Then once I have the voice record, I need to update user polyvoice. So we need to take this and put it here. And this isn't going to work. What I need to do is, instead of this, I just need an object that has an ID and a name. So we'll do the ID is going to be voice dot record ID. This needs to be ID colon voice record ID comma name colon, and this is going to be voice.name. It doesn't seem to like that syntax at all. Why? Did I ruin something? I have two closing braces, maybe just one close. There we go. Okay, so that will update the user's polyvoice. And then I need my voice speech to be not new voice, but random voice. We'll just take this too. And since we're doing these all at the same time, I have a little syntax that I use, random. I have a little syntax that I use. This is going to go away, so we'll just do that for now. It's in my launch request. This is the nice clean version, and I copy this all the time. I'm going to take that, and we're going to go back to change voice intent, and we're going to say I need, let's see, if we're in the else, I need to get the voice. There's no avoiding that, but then I have two more gets that I'm going to do. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to call the first one, well, that's just an update. I don't really need, let's not do it this way. So we'll just take this guy, put him here, because then we can just carry on. This is just a call out. I don't even need to await it, I don't think. And speak output is going to equal whatever I decide random voice should get me. So let's go create a record in the database for speech. That's something like random voice. I chose the random. I chose the voice name for you randomly. Okay, random voice is there. Copy some locales to it. Good to go. We'll do one more just for fun. Okay, random voice. I selected the voice name for you. Okay. Great, great, great. So I have random voice now, and if I come back here and look at this, random voice is what I'm calling for. So I'll get my random speech. I'm going to replace voice name as the thing, and I'm going to replace it with voice.name. Now, there is a 99.99% chance that I broke something. Highly likely. The first thing that I need to do for sure is I added get random voice, but I didn't add it to the index here. So I need to get random UV. Get random voice is going to go right here. And we're going to take that and put it there, and also put it here with a comma. And what have I done wrong? Get random voice. Get random voice. Didn't export it. Get random voice. All that looks good. If we come back to this, not that one, this one, everything turned yellow, which means if I do change voice intent and I highlight over get random voice, it is expecting a table and a locale. I need to remove those because I'm not actually using any of it. I don't need a locale. I don't need a table. This is a really clean call in. I don't have to pass anything to it. All right, moment of truth, everybody. Let's go. How can we test this? Oh, yeah, we just want to say change voice. Change the voice.
I selected the voice Penelope for you. What would you like to try?
I would like it to be the voice Penelope. Why aren't you using the voice Penelope? It didn't wrap the voice. Why didn't it wrap the voice? What does the data look like? Data, user, I don't have a voice. I also need to go back and uncheck Ricardo, who is deleted. Penelope is right here. ESMX, not deleted. Why didn't it wrap the voice? Probably because I didn't tell it to. Change voice intent is here. We somehow didn't update the voice. I guess we're getting there too fast, so we'll await that too, even though I don't really want to. And let's try again. Change the voice. Wah, wah. Oh.
The requested skill did not provide a valid response.
Open?
Hello, and welcome to Alexa DevTips. This skill can give you information and answers about Alexa skill development. What should you do now?
Is that what it says? It doesn't say ESMX? Well, it worked. What voice do I have now? Ricardo. So let's request one of the MX voices. That's a good call. Penelope. I'll just copy that. Bring it in here. Change the voice to.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What is the problem? You don't like the voice? Penelope is invalid as an attribute name. Well, look at that trade last. You found me. You found an issue. So Miguel and Penelope, and there was one more, Lupe. You guys get to go away. Bye bye. 30,000 points, W Georgia. That's amazing. And it changes it. It really does change it to Penelope. That's odd. Let's do this.
Hello.
Why does that work if it's not supported?
Hello. This is Penelope.
Very strange. So if you put the ESMX is not. So I mean, how do I do that though? Because it's technically a ESMX voice. Spanish? No. Oh, yeah, I did ESMX. Penelope is Spanish US. That's dumb. No, I had ENMX. Did I have ENMX or ESMX? I think I had EN. Let's see if we can go back and bring them back. Come back from the dead, please. Penelope. ESMX. Well, that could be part of the issue. No, that's Spanish Mexico. That's what I want. Are these Spanish US? They're Spanish US. Terrible. ESUS. And Miguel was the other one. Still not supported. ESUS. And Lupe. ESUS.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
So if I just change the voice record, what if I just change it to, like if I change Penelope to ENUS, and now I try it?
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Still doesn't like that. Penelope is an invalid attribute name for the element voice. I'm going to try one more thing, just because we're messing around here. Penelope.
Welcome to Alexa Dev Tips. What would you like to know?
It's the accent. That's interesting. Now can I change it? Can I change the locale back to ES US?
There was a problem with the requested skills response. There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Alright, so it just doesn't... There's a lot to unpack there, but it seems like we've got some issues. But I can change these to ENUS for now, which doesn't hurt anything. So it was that one and Miguel. ENUS. And Lupe. Stop. ENUS. Now if I say start the skill.
Hello. What would you like to know?
Change voice to Lupe.
Hello, my name is Lupe. I will use this voice until you change it again. What should we do now?
Interesting. Yeah, we've got some fun, interesting things to try and handle here, but I am also out of time. But it's choosing a random voice, which is something I wanted to do. So, change voice. What? What is wrong now? What did you change it to?
The requested skill did not provide a valid response.
Oh, really? Okay, that may be easier. Maybe it's just my debug console broke? It did. Okay, debugger's running. Open the skill.
Welcome. What would you like to know?
Change voice. Just give me some random voice. That's all I want. Value null is not a valid
The requested
reckoning.
skill did not provide a valid response.
The value null? Where would I be getting null? And where? It's an update user poly voice. So this is something about this. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to work on that right now, unfortunately. I've got to run. But we're going to change my user voice to be not even Alexa. Let's just get rid of it. That's fine. So let's just get back to working.
Welcome. What would you like to try?
Okay, so leave ourselves a couple of notes here. We are getting null values from polyvoice.id. Check on the pt.br voices. Okay. All right, guys. I apologize, but I have to run. It's a busy, busy Friday, and it's a good thing I'm not completely exhausted already. But I will be back again on Monday morning, and we can go from there. So I'm gonna decline that, and then we're gonna do one more thing, maybe. Let's see if we can do one more thing before we get out of here, which is if we go to this, we go. No. We're going to do Jeff Blankenburg. Let's go see if we can raid somebody with all 13 of us. So I'm going to go to this. And we'll go to Creator Dashboard. Thank you guys all for tuning in too. It's always a pleasure. Let's go see what's happening. Maybe there's a Jeff Nunn channel we could raid. Jeff Nunn has not started yet. Really, Jeff Nunn? I thought you were going to be on right now. All right, well, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out BeginBot, I'm going to fire us over there. He is a delight to watch and build some very cool things. Go.